Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This is On the Vine with Miss C. And I have a lot to talk about, so we are back again. My next topic is related to the enormous amount of videos I am seeing online and commercials and different things popping up when you're online about prepping and different people who are selling dried foods and powdered foods and solar generators and solar lights and different things like that. And I'm not saying to do it or not to do it. I just want to ask the question. And my question is, will preppers fare any better than those who are not buying up supplies en masse? And will buying up supplies or prepping do people any good? So let's answer the first part of the question, because we may get the answer to the second part of the question by answering that question. Because like I said, I'm not going to encourage you to do one or the other, although, you should always keep some extra things on hand around home. Because you never know what's going to happen, especially depending on where you live. If you have electricity outages frequently, or if your area is prone to flooding. But at the same time, if your area is prone to flooding, if your house or where you keep your supplies is going to be flooded, you have to think about, is it a good idea for me to store all those things here and where I live is prone to flooding? Or, you live in Tornado Alley and you don't have a storm shelter or something like that. Is it a good idea for you to store up all these things and wind up losing them? So a lot of things are at play here when you're making decisions. And so, like I said, I'm not telling anybody to do it or not to do it. I just want to see, because these types of companies and videos and different things like that have been going on for a long time. I remember them more frequently starting up back during when we were getting ready to turn to year 2000. So the thing with Y2K, and I don't know how many of y'all listening can remember all of that, but that was a big thing. And I remember the New Year's Eve before the year 2000 was supposed to roll in. I mean, you couldn't find a bottle of water on the shelf. You couldn't find any lantern oil or anything. And you saw people driving down the road with trailers and truckloads of water and canned goods and things. You just couldn't find them in the store. So I'm quite familiar with this. And I just want to know, because this has been going on for quite some time. Will the people who are storing up, food in mass and different things like that, will they fare better than the people who are not storing up things in mass? And I'm not, and as I just expressed, I'm not talking about the people who are, just keeping a little extra around, but these who are just, making a life of it. And but I'm all for gardening and storing water and all that stuff. But because that's what I know. So that's not new to me. So my question is, will the preppers, y'all know who I'm talking about, the serious preppers, will they fare any better than the rest of us when the doo-doo hits the fan, or whatever is coming? There's always something coming. So that's my question to the cards today. That is my question to the cards. Will the preppers fare any better than the rest of the people? I mean, because I could go into a long conversation about this, but I won't, because that's not my question. Will the preppers fare any better than the rest of the people who are not doing mass prepping? All right, what say you, cards? All right. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to look at the energy around this whole prepping thing. So let's do that first. Let's look at the energy around prepping. Let's do that. So let's look at the energy around prepping, because I want to make sure my question gets answered. So I'm being careful about how I ask the questions. So let's look at the energy around prepping. That's what we're going to do first. Oh, goodness. All right, so the energy around it is, this is what you're dealing with. It's of the mind. It's keeping the mind pumping, 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 always on, always preparing for something that's coming. Always, waiting on some incident or something to happen. That is the energy around prepping. Now, the guidance that can be given about the energy that's dealing with the mind is experiencing. Take the time to experience what you are dealing with. Meaning, take the time to deal with what is really going on in your mind. Slow down enough to pay attention to why you're doing what you're doing. And then here is the Lover's card, which is then come back together. So we're talking about the mind experiencing and a relationship, your relationship to this whole thing. That is interesting. That is the energy you're dealing with, the mind, what you're experiencing, and people have fallen in love with the idea. Oh, wow. People have fallen in love with the idea of preparing for the next disaster. And so it's going to be an ongoing experience. That's what we're getting. That's what I'm getting here. Okay. All right. All right. That gets the coals going. That puts some wood on the fire right there. All right. I know where we need to go now. Okay. People have fallen in love in their minds with the experiences that they have when they are dealing with, they have made a lifestyle of experiencing out of what they have on their mind, which is preparing for the next disaster. They have been experiencing this in their mind, and they've fallen in love with this experience in their mind. And so it's almost like a drug that we have to always be preparing. And so people are always preparing for the next disaster. I wonder if that hinders people from actually living living their best life or their fullest life, because they're constantly preparing. Interesting. All right. Well, that gives us a window into. All right. So now that we know that, let's look at one more thing here. So from what we gathered from those three cards, they are having a relationship, or they have made a way of life out of this. So, all right, I'm just going to read this off the cuff. Okay, so we're going to do, if you prep and if you don't prep. So we're going to have 2 stacks of cards here. If you prep, if you don't prep. If you prep, where will it take you? If you don't prep, where will it take you? And what will the outcome be if you prep? And what will the outcome be if you don't prep? Let me write a note down just real quick. All right, so if you prep, if you don't prep, where will this take you? How will you fare? How will you fare? And what will be the outcome of your prepping? All right, that's what we're going to do here. And then I'm going to pull a wild card. Actually, and this one turned over, so we're going to put you a wild card too. All right, I've never done this before. So here we go. I just made this up just as we were going. All right, so this should be interesting. All right, so if you prep, if you don't prep, where would this take you? Where would this take you? And what would the outcome be? And where would the outcome be? All right, so those who don't prep, this is you here. You will be outside of the gate, looking in. Meaning you probably gonna be trying to get in where they got some stuff. And you gonna have to just wing it. You're gonna have to just trust, if I just jump off of here, I'm gonna make it. So basically, this is you winging it. And the outcome will be, this is basically a tower card. All fall down. Now, here we got the people who are prepping. Patience. They are waiting. They are patiently storing. They are patiently taking time to put things in place so that in the event something happens, they are ready. But at the same time, this card is called politics. But at the same time, this is telling me that politics is a snake. And there are people who are really encouraging you to prep for your benefit. And that's this face right here that they show you. But in actuality, behind the scenes, they are wanting you to prep to make them, you know, to buy their product. You know. And so when you prep, this is what happens. But at the same time, the outcome is friendliness. So by these people prepping, who are prepping, they are building a community. They are building a connection, because these are two different trees. They are creating an environment where people who otherwise would not even think to have anything in common with one another would even think that they have anything in common with someone through prepping. All right, now these are the wild cards here. This one just turned over on its own. This one here is silence, and this one is control. So this is like opposites. Or actually, silence could be the same as control, because when someone is controlled, you remain silent. You remain silent. And what I'm gathering from this is neither will fare any better than the other, because the connection between these two, well, I think this group here, the preppers, will fare a little better, but at the same time, the thing that is going to connect them is this control and silence, because while you are busy prepping, that's keeping you silent on a lot of other things, because you're busy preparing for something that is going to occur in the future, and you don't know how far into the future it's going to occur, so thereby you remain under control. But here, this is the complete falling down, because you're not preparing at all. You don't even have this friendship here, because you're not doing anything. So I have to say, based on what I'm seeing here, The outcome overall for preppers is the same, but for the ones that do prep and the ones that don't, there is a difference. The preppers are building relationships with people. They are going to know where and who to go to and how to do things when something does happen. These that are not doing any kind of prep work, this is going to be their outcome. The ones that are prepping, they're going to be building relationships with people and connections with people, so that even if the things that they are storing is destroyed, they will have the connections and know how to do something themselves, or they will know who to get in contact to get something. When these people over here, because they haven't even been attempting to get into the know about prepping for stuff, or how to gather wood, or how to start a fire, or any of that stuff. This is why they're going to have a thunderbolt moment. And these people here who are prepping are going to have bonds built with other people because they've been communicating with them. They've been talking to them on social media. They've been perhaps going to meetings and things like that. So I have to say, based on what I'm seeing here, those that are prepping, they are going to fare better than those who are not. And it's not necessarily going to be because of the things that they have in their cabinets, because we don't know what the disaster is going to be. So like I said in the beginning, you know, if it's a flood or a tornado or something and all of your stuff was stored in a building somewhere, now it's all destroyed, you know, and the disaster is here, you know. So, but at the same time, if you were prepping, you know somebody that maybe wasn't in the flood zone or in the tornado zone, and you can go and get supplies. Or, you know, they'll allow you to sleep in their barn or on their couch, or use, you know, come stay with them or whatever, because you befriended them in your search for prepping. So, like I said, this is a conversation that could go on for a while. But I have to say, the preppers are going to fare better than those who are sitting around twiddling their thumbs, not trying to get into any kind of communication with people outside of themselves. Not trying to make connections with people, not working with other people, not utilizing any of the online platforms of people showing you how to preserve things, you know, cure meat, or trap animals, or how to purify your water or filter your water and things like that. That is going to be a life-saving skill. And the folks who are prepping are going to know how to do that stuff. So, they are going to fare better, and not necessarily because of the supplies, but just because of the work that they are doing right now. So with that being said, I'm going to end the video there. I don't think we need to even discuss the second part of the question, because I think, like I said, the first part of the question actually explains it. But what I would suggest, well, no, I'm not going to make a suggestion. I'm going to let y'all figure that out on your own. So prep or not to prep, that is your decision, not mine. But don't stay silent on other stuff because you're busy prepping. Basically what I'm saying, don't put your head so far in the sand that you can't see behind you, or you can't see in front of you. So keep doing what you're doing, because it is good work to do those things. But don't get all, just lose your mind over it, is what I'm saying. So be mindful of that. I want to say thank you for you guys watching. I appreciate your commentary and watching. So these videos are for entertainment purposes only. They are my opinion only and my interpretation of the cards. You may do with the information as you see fit. I'm not attempting to give you any advice whatsoever. Please do not take it as such. So with all of that being said, I want to say thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great and enlightened day. And until next time, I will see you then.